Hi, Aniket, can you hear me?
Hi Vikas, yes, I can hear you. Yes.
Okay, got it.
Okay.
Priyanshi, can you take it live?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Uh, yes, Aniket, can we start?
Yes, we can start. Yeah.
Okay, got it. So, hi everyone, welcome to today's webinar. So, today's webinar topic is GenAI mastery, building future-ready skills with data science. So, before moving to the webinar, I will quickly introduce today's speaker. So, today's speaker is Mr. Aniket Chabra. He's currently the Director of Technical Product Management, GenAI in MonAI. With over 13 years of experience in AI, ML, and deep understanding of generative AI products, Aniket brings a wealth of expertise in building intelligent, data-driven solutions. His journey spans industry giants like PayPal, Fidelity, GE Capital, and ASAPP, where he has worked at the intersection of finance, technology, and product innovation. Anikit's skill encompasses predictive modeling, machine learning, and deep learning algorithms. So before handing over the session to the speaker, I will quickly give you the instructions of today's webinar. So this is a listen only mode webinar. So whatever queries or doubts you have, you can either use the Q&A section, which is given below in the menu bar, or you can use the chat section as well to put your queries on. And Aniket will take up all the queries that you have. Okay. Thank you guys. Over to you, Aniket.
Thank you, Vikas. Hi, everyone. Good evening. Thank you for taking out time on a weekday and joining the session. As Vikas mentioned about the agendas, let me quickly talk about the agenda again. Um, so basically, the idea today is that we are going to talk about like how the Gen AI, generative AI, we call it, is changing the data science market in terms of the skill set, like what companies are looking for um, within a data scientist, right? In terms of Gen AI skills plus data science skills, right? That's first part. Second part we'll also look at the market, how current market looks like in terms of the number of jobs, the way data science job market is growing. And the third part we'll look at how great learning can help you achieve you to be on that path. Sorry, great learning can help you to be on that path to achieve the goal. The goal is to, let's say, land, on a data science job, right? Data scientist job along with the Gen AI skill set, right? So the session is divided into three parts. We'll go one by one, and the last section is basically the Q&A. We'll try to keep like 10 to 15 minutes for the Q&A section, which the idea of that is to answer questions. You can post your questions in the Q&A section, or you can post it in the chat option. So we'll take up the questions there, right? Feel free to ask any questions. So don't hesitate in asking. So as I said, we'll try our best to answer the questions. Okay. Um, Okay, with that, let's get started. So, the first part we are going to talk about like how data science, skill set is changing in the world of Gen AI. So let's start with like understanding what exactly data science is, and let's start understanding with an example, right? So, like, what if you think about like a day-to-day work of a data scientist? What does the data scientist do in terms of like, let's say there's a project that he or she has to work upon, how the project is handled, what are the steps to complete the outcome or objective of the project, right? So the first step starts with the problem statement, like business understanding, problem understanding. So let's say you are working in a company ABC. The company, you are working as a data scientist and you have stakeholders. Now, who are the stakeholders? The stakeholders can be from any business side, any vertical side. For example, product can be one of your stakeholder. Marketing can be one of your stakeholder. Finance department can also be a stakeholder. And let's say operation department can also be a stakeholders, right? So you work as a horizontal, with a horizontal capability, which you can support any vertical at any point in time, right? So any of these verticals can be one of your stakeholders at one point in time. So you work with them closely. So they help you understanding the business problems, right? So let's take an example of maybe product is your stakeholder. So then let's say product comes to you and ask you, okay, my product, I want to recommend product to the customers in the best way. So when I say recommend, meaning that the idea is that whenever let's say you are an online company, this ABC company is online, and then the customers come on the website and then they try to search for the product. They search for the product and buy that. That's a flow. It's a happy path. Now here, what you can do is you can actually make a lot of other recommendations which customers might not be aware of, right? They might not be aware of the products that exist in your, let's say on the website, you have that product, but customer is either not searching it, or even if they're searching it, they're not able to find it properly. So what you can do is you can actually make a recommendation. It's called recommendation, right? So which customers are likely to buy. So that's the problem understanding. Then you start looking at the data. How will you look at the data? Now, there are multiple ways to look at the data. Let's simplify the problem. Let's look at the customer's past behavior, right? Historical data where customer has historically, browsed through the websites like your website, looked looked the products, right? There is a search history, there is a purchase history, right? And there is a visit history. All these kind of history data is available. You understand that data, explore the data. So when I say explore the data, means analyze the data. Like what are the nuances of the data? Data could not be clean, data might be messy, in the wrong format. Those things you fix in the step number two. So that is also called data pre-processing. So basically you process the data, make it cleaner, make it much more cleaner. And then once it is cleaned, you add create features in the data. So when I say features means, because when you build the model requires the input features. So any ML model, machine learning model, has an input and output. So input is your data set in a structured form, in a form like, let's say, where you have variables, you have features, some people call it parameters also. So those parameters will be the input, and then that input will go and predict the output. So that is part of your pre-processing exploratory analysis, or also we call it model ready data. Again, don't worry about this too much, because this you will go through in detail. So as I said, the third part where great learning, how great learning can help you achieving that, is something like you will be taught in the course in very detail. So I am fast forwarding a bit, but so it is like once you start building it, you will have much more clarity about how to build that. I'm just covering the high level ground so that you understand like how these things work and how a data scientist workflow works. So that is basically model ready data. And now after model ready data, you start building the model. Now model building is also an exercise. Like there are multiple models, you have to select one model, the best model for the data set that you are using. Recommendation engine have multiple models. You choose one of them and train the model. It's called model training process. It takes a couple of days to train a model. Check the assumption. The model refining process called tuning is also there. You tune the models, and once you finalize the model, let's say after tuning you got some accuracy, that model goes in the production. So when I say production means that model will be deployed. So now what will happen after deployment? After deployment, I say deployment, it basically meaning that whenever now customers are coming to the website of the company, these customers will now see model generated recommendations, the products that they will see. Okay, you should buy this, people have bought that in the past, you have seen this but did not buy that, would you like to purchase now? All these kind of recommendations will start throwing to the customer's page now, and this could be personalized, right? Each customer might see the recommendations based on their history. Everybody does that in the real world now, like e-commerce, any e-commerce website, Flipkart, Amazon, right? All of them use these kind of recommendations to show to their customers, so the customers are like basically customers purchase the product, right? These are called recommendations that are shown to the customers, and that's your model. So that's how the model flow works. Now data scientist's role is to understand, like work on from step one, the problem statement, till the final model, right? Deployment is done by the engineering team. That is the other team that who uh, deploy these models. Okay. Now we know the process, like how the high level models get developed and then how the models are deployed. Then what are the skill set like a data scientist should have, or anybody should have to become a data scientist, right? So there are a couple of categories of skills. I'll tell you, I'll maybe simplify the slides. Three categories are the main categories where the skill set, I mean, anybody should have those three categories of skill set. One skill set is the bottom layer, which is the tool and the technology. So when I say tool and technology, so tool means that the 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 mechanisms in which you can achieve the outcome. So for example, Python programming language is one of the tool which you use to build models. So you need to be good in Python programming, SQL programming, maybe Excel, Tableau. These kind of tools are there which you should have in your toolkit to build any kind of model that, let's say, anybody asking you to build. So that's a tool level knowledge. Then there is a technology level. I was talking about initially that you need to build a model from certain set of models, right? So there are a couple of models. Maybe there are 10, 20, 30, 40 algorithms. From that, you choose the best one. So technology wise, you need to know those algorithms also, like which algorithm will fit where. Recommendation engine is one type of problem. You will fit you will select a particular model to build the recommendation engine. Tomorrow, maybe you're something you're predicting in the fraud detection side. You'll pick that data set model technique with the data, and then the modeling technique you will use will be different from the previous one. And here you will be building a classification algorithm. So there are a set of technical skills that are required to become a data scientist. So tool and technology is this. Then there is a basic foundational skills of data analysis. It's also called mathematical and statistical skills. What do I mean by that? Mathematical and statistical skills are basically, do you understand the number crunching, right? Data insights. It's very important to analyze the data, right? So when I say analyze the data means, like, let's say there is a trend in the data. Are you able to capture the trend? Data going, let's say, data is uncleaned. Are you able to convert the data from let's say stage A to stage B, which is required for the modeling? So like that, you have these mathematical and statistical knowledge. Again, you don't have to be a mathematician or statistician to become, you know, a data scientist, but good knowledge of maths and statistics is required. Less sampling techniques. If you have large data, how will you sample the right data, right? How will you select the features for the model? Like those kind of things are part of mathematical and statistical expertise. That's the second level of skill. The third skill is the business acumen, which is mentioned here also, which is the business knowledge. Now, this comes with experience. The more you spend, the more time you spend in one particular type of, let's say, business or domain, you gain that knowledge, right? For example, people who are working in the fintech, they work a lot on the fraud detection side, right? People who are working in the retail industry, they work on a lot on these recommendations engines, right? Those kind of platform side. So depends upon which industry you're part of. This is not expected from freshers because this is something that you build over the period of time. But basically, people who are experienced or senior professionals, it is expected from them that they should build the business acumen knowledge, or they should have the business acumen, a strong business acumen, so that whenever there is a knowledge, there is a business knowledge required in a particular application that you're building, it is, you are like able to solve that. You're able to understand that and solve that problem. So these three categories of skill sets are required for you to become a good data scientist. And these are like non-negotiable skills. We should have it. But again, you don't have to be a, I mean, as I said, expert in that. Few skills, like for example, Python programming is a must. We should have it. We must have that knowledge of Python programming, but you don't have to be a statistician or mathematician to solve the problem. A basic level of maths and stat skills is also required. Also, like as the way I said, I mean, in the strong business acumen, right? If you're a fresher, yes, the business acumen is not expected from you that much, but as you become senior, it is expected from you. Okay, that's on the skill set side. Now, what are the roles available, in the market? Let's say you have those skills now. What kind of roles you can apply or should apply for this? There are multiple, roles and responsibilities, but two of them are like is something that is should be our focus. One is called the data analyst, or it's called business analyst skill set. Now, what is data analyst and business analyst skill set is basically, think about like the analytical skills, as I said, like it's a combination of maths and statistical skills. You're able to generate reports for the customers, right? Able to query the data whenever required. Analysis, it's more on the analysis side, the EDA part that I talked about in the first slide, some pre-processing side, rather than modeling side. And that's the difference between data scientists and business analysts. Data scientists are people who are working on the machine learning modeling side. Data analysts or business analyst people are who are more on the mathematical and statistical analytical thinking side, right? So the and because of that there could be some difference in the skill set also, like the required skill set as well. For example, for data scientists, Tableau might not be that important, right? Or as important as, let's say, Python and SQL are. But for business analysts, Tableau is more important. Machine learning techniques are not that important. So even if, let's say, a business analytics person doesn't know at one point in time maybe some high-end neural network kind of deep learning algorithm, that's okay. But he or she should have the knowledge of Tableau, data analysis, report generation, etc. Those things he or she should have, must have the knowledge. Okay, so that's the difference between the data scientist and business analyst. I would recommend people, who can move, choose the direction to go, like wherever they want to go. But basically, my recommendation is people who are less technical in terms of, like, let's say you don't want to get into the machine learning technical side, skill side, then you can go as a business analyst role, which means that you don't have to learn ML techniques that much. Although the more you learn, better it will be. But let's say if you don't want to learn as of now, then you can start with a data analyst or business analyst skill set. Versus for a data scientist, the machine learning techniques, especially the deep learning, machine learning, Gen AI skills are must. They they must have those skills to become a good data scientist. Okay. Okay, now let's move to the Gen AI part, like how Gen AI is changing this overall domain, right? So Gen AI is pretty new, although it's been 2 3 years now, 3 years almost there, but it's still pretty new in terms of like the application development, and in terms of the technology overall, how that's moving. But basically, the part is that if we look at the Gen AI, what is the difference? Let's understand first the difference between Gen AI and data science, like the traditional techniques, the modeling techniques that we have been talking about, right? So generative, as the name says, generative AI. So far, we're talking about ML models, machine learning, classification, prediction, predictive models, right? Gen AI is generative AI. Now, how generative AI is different? Think about this way: as the name says, it's generation of data, right, or content. So, for example, it's an advanced set of techniques where you not only predict, the let's say the you not only make the predictions, you also now generate content, right? So, for example, let's say, how do you interact with Chat GPT? Let's say you want to write some code, you ask your query to Chat GPT, okay, can you please help me, creating this, writing the code for, let's say, maybe missing values in the data. What ChatGPT will do is it'll take your input, which is the question, and read your questions carefully, and then try to generate the code for the missing value replacement. Right now, here, what is the answer that you got from ChatGPT is the answer of predicting the, sorry, generating the code. Right. So now here internally, maybe it is predicting something, right? So there could be scenarios where it is generating the tokens, like by predicting the next token, so and so forth. But primarily, the output that you say is the code generation. The final output for you is the code that is generated by this chat GPT. So that is why it's called generative, because it is generating the content, generating the answer the way you're asking. Versus machine learning, what you were doing earlier is the classification, the difference. It's more like a discriminative, right? So machine learning, you were actually identifying whether we should recommend this product to the customer or not. Yes or no kind of questions or answers. Here, the answers are like open-ended, right? The code generation, or let's say you're writing something, okay, can you help me summarizing this email? Now, this is an open-ended answer, right? So here, what's happening is that your answer is open-ended, right? So in this case, the technology is different, the answer, the response is also different. So that's why the applications are also different. Now we don't want the I mean, we know that ML will not be able to generate the content. So wherever the classification tasks, the predictive tasks are required, we use ML, machine learning. Wherever we have to generate some content, some data, again, helping the business to write memos, right? All those things are part of the generative AI algorithms, right? So that is the difference between Gen AI and traditional like AI. So then, of course, like if the technology is different, right? But one more thing I would like to mention is that we still should have the knowledge of ML to become a Gen AI scientist. It's not that you can skip that, right? Because a lot of analysis that you do on the Gen AI applications, right? Whether the application is built or before building the applications, you analyze a lot of data. And again, data analysis comes from the work that you have done or that you are going to learn in the business analytics and the data analytics and machine learning scientist kind of skill set that I've already talked about, right? So we should not separate them out in a way, right? Yes, of course, because GenAI, since the GenAI has come, a lot of things we have offloaded. Like, now we might not be writing the codes, the way we were writing the codes 3 years before, right? It's changing the coding because now you're taking help of ChatGPT to write codes. But then applications wise, you have to still analyze the data. And for that data analysis, you have to have the foundation knowledge. So that is why don't directly, if you're not familiar with this AI background, right? Let's say you don't have an AI background, you're not familiar with this overall, like here, how this, AI work. So then what you need to do is start from a data analyst and, ML scientist kind of skill set level, and then, move to Gen AI. And that is what the course is also like from Great Learning is teaching you about, right? So Gen AI people are using directly as an API to build applications, right? So what they have done is they have automated this, code generation and let's say the lot of analysis internally that when you write codes you do, but that part is now being handled by Gen AI, models. You build the application, you work now on the applications. So it's one more abstract, level. Earlier in the ML model, what you're doing is you're building the first that you're collecting the data, then build the model and then deploy the model in the production in the product. Here what you do is you start directly working on the product internal model. What model is being used, how that model is working, something is that is not your concern now. Only data and then application is something that you work on. Okay, that's the difference between Gen AI or Gen AI. That's how Gen AI is changing the landscape of data science as well. So then definitely we can't skip the skill set we still have to learn. In terms of application, again, I'll talk about high level. I don't know, I don't want to go into details of that because this is something you will learn in the course as well as you make your start your journey in this domain. But basically, what you do is there are a lot of technologies that are there. Um, um, these models that we use, as I said, you don't now like a lot of people, unless you are a research company, don't build the models. You now directly work on the application. You can see customer support application, business and finance, marketing, education and learning, these applications that you work on. And there are techniques to work on these applications, like in terms of fine tuning RAG, like you can customize Gen AI models to according to your application, right? But the idea is that now you work on the product application directly with the help of these pre-built models, right? So these models are provided to you by companies like OpenAI, Anthropic, Gemini, Google, and Meta. Like some open source models are there, some of the models are closed source. You can use any of that and then build these applications. Okay. Okay. So now, with that, let's take a pause on the first part and now move to second part. I want to talk about the market trends, right? Like, which is like how the job market growth is or so far has been, and then what is like how it will grow in the next couple of years. So now, if you look at the LinkedIn as well, every other opening is now like I mean, the companies want people to have the AI skills. Without that, it's difficult to get the resume shortlisted, right? Every other profile related to data, which is related to data, of course, like there are few profiles which are different, but any profile which is related to data or application, companies are looking for skill sets with AI and especially Gen AI, right? So then what happens is that a lot of people who do not have background, automatically their resumes don't get shortlisted because they don't have the right skill or they're not right fit, right, in the company. So then that is why it's very important now to think of this, that now this has started, like just started. In the next couple of years, you will see that, in fact, I would say all of the profiles where some data is there, companies will need people who have the AI knowledge. Without that, companies, like, no other job descriptions will be published. So which means almost every job description will have this um, AI knowledge required. And that's where the market is going, right? You can see that the job market still grow in double digit. There is a 26% growth suggested or forecasted by in the industry. But that again, I'm saying that this will might grow even further, and with the AI, right? And also you can see the Economic Times, there will be 11.5 million data science jobs globally will be there with the Gen AI skill set. This job might grow by 300% by NASCOM predictions, right, in the next couple of years, right? So without AI, it'll be very difficult to get the resume shortlisted. That's the market that we're going to grow. Again, I'll talk about the high level career path for a data scientist. Again, this is something right now not important because most of you will be entering in this domain, but just like wanted to highlight that, like, how the path grows in terms of a data science career path. So for example, like when you start, or somebody starts as a fresher, 0 to 2 years, you start with the designations, or let's say positions as data analyst, business analyst, junior data scientist, who work primarily at a project level. There is someone, you can say your buddy or your mentor will be there, who will be actually working with you on day-to-day activity, the task that you do on the coding side, right? So building the models, analyzing data. So at a very initial stages of the project, you'll be part of a team. Somebody will be your mentor, somebody will be your manager, will be helping you to complete the projects, answer customer queries, analyzing data, etc. That's your first level or entry level roles. Then there are senior, not senior level, basically um, um, uh, uh, associate level roles, I would say 2 to 5 years, where you become like a data scientist who might be working now on a project independently, right? But still, like, you are uh, working on a one leg of a project, not the whole end to end product or something, but you are now independent between 2 to 5 years, handle customer queries, maybe start interacting with customers slowly, right, and answer the questions, queries, the let's say the building the model as well. Then 5 to 10 years is something like now you start becoming, independent contributor, or maybe a manager also somewhere here, where you start working on projects, handling customers day-to-day basis, working with, maybe assigning some work to your team, allocating the work, getting the delivery done, etc. In 10 to 15 plus years, this becomes now, you become at this stage, you become a domain expert. You're handling multiple customers, maybe even a product, you get a portfolio. And as you grow, the ladder becomes even bigger and bigger. Might be multiple teams you're managing, so on and so forth. That's a career path that follows. But again, this might change role to role, company to company. As I was mentioning that, and you must have heard this in the news as well, that because of the Gen AI, the roles are also shifting. The responsibilities are also shifting. It might happen now that at 10 to 15 years of, or between 10 to 15 years, many people are IC now rather than a people manager. It was not the case if I, let's say, talk about, maybe 5 years before. Then 10 to 15 years, usually people used to get a team, right? But now many people are ICs. This can change even further, right? We don't know how this will shape up, but basically, and that is a reason also that people need to be more hands-on now. Everybody should be able to work on AI tools. Everybody should be able to work on analysis of the data, maybe dashboards creations, etc. There is an expectations organizations are setting new expectations. Organizations are setting up with people who are even senior professionals, right? Entry level jobs, juniors and associate level jobs, people are expected to become a good hands-on, you know, um, uh, s- have, expert, that is still there, right? With the new skill set, with the GenAI skill set. Okay, with that, let's now. So that was the second part, like how the market is changing, how the jobs are changing, in terms of, like the expectations of the organization in the market. And now let's talk about the in terms of like how great learning can help you to achieve the path, right? So as I was saying that now every resume, must have AI into it, which means not like, I mean, you should be, when I say have it means like you should be able to do projects, you should be able to understand AI, right? You should have the knowledge of AI. It's a must in the market now. So then how great learning can help you achieve that, right? So let's very briefly talk about like great learning as an edtech platform. So it is one of the famous, like one of the most renowned platform in India, in terms of like, providing online education. Um, you can see that there are more than 18,000 plus transitions have happened, career transitions. People are able to switch after doing the courses. I'm one of the beneficiary too. I was actually um, uh, into mainly ops analyst side, and I moved to data science side later after doing the course. There are 4,000 plus hiring partners, 400 million plus delivered, learning hours delivered. And there are not only the learning community, there is a guru community also. Guru means the mentors that are there, people like me who are associated with the industry, I mean, with the great learning, and who are coming from the industry, right? Not only that, in India, Great Learning is again one of the partners of many other like well-known universities. Northwestern is there, Walsh College is there, right? John Hopkins universities. So this course also that we are talking about is basically a dual degree certification course. You get a dual diploma certificate from Great Learning as well as University of Texas Austin. Okay. So that's about great learning. Now, coming back to the main question, like how great learning can help you achieve this, knowledge of Gen AI plus data science mix, right? So you can see that there are dedicated modules. So the way this course is designed is a 12-month course, 11 months of learning, and 12 months is a project, like the capstone project. First of all, this course is designed, structured like a workshop. It is not like only theoretical lectures are there and you don't do projects. You have to complete the projects, right? Learning I mean, in terms of theoretical learning is given to you. You read through the pre-recorded, videos, or let's say lessons are there, chapters are there. You go through them. There are sessions happen on the weekends, right, which are more like practical sessions, which means that there is a mentor who comes, who teaches the case study in a 2 hours of class, live class. You can ask questions, you can build the case study along with the mentor, right, who is coming, who is teaching. And then basically, and then you complete the module with a project. So which means every module has a project. Let's say there are 11 modules, there are 11 projects are there. Plus every module has 4 classes of mentors, and each class is actually a 1 or 2 case studies. So then technically you have like 11 cross 4, 44 plus 11, 55 case studies. So close to 60 plus case studies are there. You end up doing that in the 12 months of time period. Plus there is a capstone project, plus hackathons happen. So lots of opportunities to do hands-on, right? And then people have taken the benefit, including me, right? I was able to do a lot of hands-on work after joining the course, right? So theory you can refer, theory, a lot of content available online also, but once you know the path, like this is how you need to achieve the, build the models, apply the model, I mean, techniques, right? The first slide that we are talking about in this situation, what model to build, how to use that, those things will come into picture, right? So that is the structure of the course, like delivery structure. Now in terms of content, you can see there are different modules are there. One module is dedicated to Gen AI, you can see that, right? Which means that you will actually learn how to use chat gpt, how to use prompts, which industry is using currently, like including my organization. On a daily basis, like we write hundreds of prompts, the engineering team is building agents, right, using Gen AI platforms across the, what do you call, products, right? So, and then there are, along with that, as I said, along with Gen AI, you need to have the foundational knowledge also, the machine learning skills, the data science skills, the analytics skills. That's something you learn in the modules, right? Plus, How you learn it, the delivery mechanism is projects. It's more like a workshop than theoretical learning, right? So you, as I was mentioning, this is a 12-month program, 11 month of modules, 12 months capstone. One of the top, this is one of the top courses, number three across the globe. As I said, it's a dual certification, University of Texas, and then a great learning dual certifications that you get. How the curriculum is designed, you can see here, dedicated modules are there, assuming that people don't have the knowledge of Python, SQL, Excel, Tableau, right? Or Gen AI, machine learning techniques, coming from like people are coming as a, in the data science world, people are coming as a fresher. Start from the foundation ones. Each section, each, like you can see the, the topic here is basically a module for you guys, right? It's a 1 month of time to complete one module. That's why the total 11 modules are there, and you end up doing, like, as I say, 50 plus, 60 plus case studies. Okay, so that's on the, you can see, apart from that, you can have capstone project. There are hackathons, case study based projects, right? POCs that you do, and data science at work is basically where the mentors actually teach you how to apply this work in your day to day. Like, let's say if you're a professional, right? How you can apply that in your day to day work is something that is also covered. With that, I will take a pause. I think we have time. As I said, 15 minutes will leave for the Q&A. So now I would say let's switch gears. These three parts I want to talk about. I might have covered things at a very high level, but again, the idea was not to cover the topics, but basically to give you the direction. Okay, this is how the world is like this is where the world is going, right? So, and you can choose your path, of course. And now we can take up questions. Happy to answer queries, questions anyone has. Feel free to, post any question. There is a Q&A box. There is a chat box. Please post your questions there. Any questions we have, Vikas, in the Q&A?
Uh, yeah, just one question in the chat section we have now.
Okay. So yeah, so I think the question is a very good question. Vimal is asking, what is the difference between agentic AI and Gen AI? So this agentic AI is a system that is built using Gen AI. Okay. So Gen AI, think of the Gen AI as a technology that is, and then agentic AI is basically an application. So the technology is building the app. Yeah, technology is building the application. You can build agents using the Gen AI models, generative AI models, to let's say complete any task. For example, for let's say you want an agent. Let's take an example of customer service, right? So let's say you are building a travel agent who will book the AI, like it's fully automated travel agent means that there's an AI who will take the input from the user, from the customers, and build this. Do the booking. Let's say I want to go from Delhi to Bangalore, right? And then my travel booking, my hotel booking is done by AI. So the overall, like this task of completing like Delhi to Bangalore, hotel booking, flight booking is done by agentic AI. The model that is enabling is this overall application is Gen AI. Okay, I hope that answers the question. Vimil, you can ask the follow-up question if you have any.
There is one question regarding the course fee. So, for that, I have shared a, Google form in the chat section. You can fill any queries related to the course, let's say the curriculum structure or the fee structure, how will the classes be conducted, and either it is online mode or offline mode, weekend sessions. So all these questions you can just put it in the Google form which I have shared, and our team will get back to you with all the answers. And if you like to have the document that was presented today, or if you want to have the recording of this session, or if you want to know the details about the upcoming webinars also, you can just mention that in the Google form, and our team will get back to you with all the details.
Yeah. Any other questions anyone has? Guys, please don't hesitate in asking questions. Happy to answer.
there is a very generic question in chat section, Aniket. It's like how ChatGPT works.
So, okay. So the detail is that the detailed answer would be you'll be getting in the course how ChatGPT works, like basically the underlying mechanism of ChatGPT. But just to give you a high level idea, this is also a GenAI based application, right? So GPT, ChatGPT is a UI interface where you go and ask your question. Behind this interface, there is a model that is working, which is called GPT models. So you have see, I believe that you have seen Chat GPT. So on top left, you actually see the model selection, basically GPT-5, GPT-4, GPT-4o. These kind of different type of models are there. They run in the backend. They are generative AI models. So when I say generative AI model, they are basically the LLMs. They call it large language models. Now the name has changed to multimodal models and all, but that's a different point. Sorry. So these are multimodal models. And then what happens is that whenever you ask a question, that UI layer interact with the model. The model takes your question as input and answer the question again by as I said, token predictions, right? So it generates the answer based on the data it is trained on. Okay. So that's the difference between, I mean, sorry, that's how ChatGPT works. So once the model sends a response, GPT wraps up the response and send it to the user. Right? That is what, so of course there are multiple steps that happen. There is an instruction part. It has to follow the questions. There are guardrails available, right? All those things that are there, but those are more technicalities. But high level, this is how ChatGPT works. Okay. Okay. There's another question in the Q&A box. I'm already a working professional using basic Power BI and business and Excel for business analyst and data analyst. Are the soft what are the soft skills and tech skills minimum required for a good growth in the market and trend? So, okay. So, if you're already using Power BI and let's say Excel, I believe that most of the analysis, or you must already be doing some data analysis, right? Depends upon the complexity of the data and all. So, in a way that you are doing already data analyst work, right? And now, apart from that, I think apart from the skills that you mentioned, right? The Excel and Power BI, as I was mentioning the slides also, right? Other skills or tool level skills can be helpful is that you should learn Python if you're not learned that. Python is programming very important language. SQL you should learn because then you will be able to interact with the databases. Now there are no SQL now, but basically foundations is SQL. So Python, SQL, right? Those are two other skills. And then plus now if you want to get into ML side, then ML techniques, machine learning techniques, right? So the predictive models and then Gen AI skills, right? So this is a kind of set of skill set that you need to use, you need to learn to become a data scientist, right? In the analytics space, let's say if you want to stay in the business analyst world, still you should know how to use chat gpt and all, again as at an application level, how to write prompts. But again, that's something you learn in the as per the business requirement. I'm not recommending to learn or to do a prompt engineering course here, but basically you should know how to interact with these gen ai tools. But otherwise, I would say SQL is very important apart from the skills that you mentioned here. That's on the hard technical skill side. Soft skills, again, primarily are the presentation skills, building decks. You must already be building decks, right, for the customers. So, I mean, it's hard to evaluate, the soft skills, but basically you should practice more in terms of how to present the data, finding insights in the data, right? Sharing the insights with the customer on a regular basis. That's how you improve your soft skills as well. Adesha, I hope that answers the question. Okay, so Swamindeep is asking, again, these questions, GPT and Gemini, they are different models, different type of techniques of Gen AI. One is built by OpenAI team, which is GPT models, and then Gemini is built by Google teams. Okay, so there are two different type of LLMs. Any other questions we have? I hope that I answered the question which Adisha was asking.
Yes, one more question in chat section.
Okay, so again, all these techniques are NLP based. I think the question is pretty broad. Like what ways NLP importance in AI. So NLP is of course important. Uh, NLP is basically text natural language processing. So it's again as we interact, start like in the last couple of years when ChatGPT came, we started interacting with these applications in natural language, which means that we need to process the natural language, right? So these LLMs understand the natural language. That is why NLP is important. So every AI tool now will be natural language based, and we need to. That is why NLP is important. Okay.
Yes, I think I don't see any other questions, Aniket. So,
Okay. Thank you so much.
okay. Thank you, Aniket. Thank you so much for joining.
Thank you. Bye. Bye, everyone. All the best.
Hi everyone. If you have any doubts regarding the course structure or the curriculum structure, see, all these courses are designed for working professionals. So most of the courses will be on weekends only, and so it won't be interrupting your usual work. Okay. So any other queries, you can just fill this form and you can put your query there. Let's say you want to know about the fee structure, the more detail about the curriculum structure or the tools that you have to learn about, or the eligibility criteria of the courses that you are going to do, or let's say you are interested in some other no GenAI programs, a shorter duration GenAI programs, or you know a degree kind of program. So whatever queries you have, you can just mention it in the Google Forms, right? Even if you need the recording of this video, you can mention that in the form as well. Our team will get back to you with all the things that is required for you. Okay. I'll wait for 2 more minutes. If you have any other questions, I can take it up, or else we can end the webinar. I don't see any other questions. I'll just put the link for the form one more time so that you can keep it with you. Um, Yes, you can copy this link and you can keep it with you and you can fill it. So thank you guys. Thank you so much for joining on a weekday. Thank you so much for your time. We'll end the webinar now. Thank you.